Hello and welcome to IBTimes TV. I'm Leanna Brinder, Business Editor for the International Business Times. Joining me now is Doug Tucker. He is here to talk about his book, Sales Commando, and he's also the Managing Director of Sales Commando. So hi, thanks for joining us from sunny Dubai.
Hi, thank you.
Well, first of all, to maybe set the scene for the world of IFAs, maybe you can tell us how regulatory changes, namely RDR, has shaped the market over the past couple of years.
Well, it's still shaping it, really. The market's in really a big state of flux, and what I've observed is that you've kind of got two mindsets. You've got a lot of people, a lot of brokerages, a lot of individuals that are really concentrating quite heavily on making sure that they are compliant, that they have all the necessary qualifications, and that's 100% of their focus, which is fine, which is great, which is needed, of course. And then you've got a smaller amount of people that understand that they need to establish those things, but are thinking, right, how are we going to communicate now with the public? How are we going to go about delivering our message? Where are we going to target our message? And how are we going to get new customers for our business? And these are the people that I think you're going to see elevate themselves in this competitive marketplace, and these are the people that I think are going to reduce their market share.
So what would you say are the top tips you could give in terms of IFAs selling themselves to the public?
Well, the first thing is embrace that word that you've said, selling. You know, most IFAs aren't suffering from a lack of industry knowledge. They're suffering from obscurity. People don't know who they are. And then really they need to take the approach of, right, okay, let's focus our energies on getting our name out there. Let's have everybody in our territory, region, area knowing exactly who we are, what we can do for people, how we can add value to people's lives, and how we can go about helping people. And then from there, cure their obscurity. If you think about it, there's 60 million people in this country, okay? There's 250,000 registered doctors. There's 120,000 legal professionals. There's 28,000 IFAs, and that number's declining. But people are in need today, far more than ever, of decent financial planning and structuring and advice. And it's a problem, and they need to get out there and give advice to more people.
Okay, and I mean, maybe for some people out there that may be watching this and thinking, well, you know, why should they need an IFA? Maybe explain in terms of whether it's on property or wealth management, what that kind of added value IFAs can give in terms of those markets. Okay,
so for example, most of us have got our own ideas, our own personal ideas of a way to stay healthy, of a way to give ourselves financial health. But seeking outside help, seeking a helicopter view of your life, on your health, on your finances, is critical. To have a kind of a third-party endorsement to say, actually, you're heading in the right direction, or have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Relying on just going to the internet, most of us are only going to seek out the information that we already know about, that we already believe in. So if I was to sit down with you and do a financial health check, for example, I might be able to bring to the table some ideas that you simply haven't thought about. That's the main reason why you should seek out a professional and say, okay, right, this is going to add value to my financial life.
And I mean, what kind of areas are you seeing, you know, a big drive for customers needing that kind of advice? I mean, from pre-credit crisis, obviously property is a huge one, and then there was a bit of a starvation in terms of people moving and buying up new homes, but that seems to have changed now. So is property still one of the #1 things that IFAs can add to, or is it now looking at wealth management or pensions or?
Well, IFAs depends, again, it depends on the individual focus of the individual IFA. Yeah. Property obviously is important for everybody, but it's not the only thing, it's not the only trick that you should have in your toolbox. And a good IFA would sit down with somebody. They would, first of all, find the area and the gap and decide, okay, I need you to see the same gap that I'm looking at. Now, can we both agree that that's a gap there? Okay, you're heavy on property. Have you thought about diversification, for example? Everybody, every member of the public is quite heavy on property because it's the thing that they can understand. Most of us grew up in a house. We understand that asset. We don't understand more intangible assets perhaps. And it's maybe educating people to show them that actually they can have faith in those to actually forward their financial health.
Okay, so I mean, talking about that, because they, like I said, it's all to do with what the focus is of the individual IFA. But let's talk about the book and how, from the sales, that's shown maybe a trend in terms of what IFAs need to know, or.
Okay, so the idea of the book really was that I saw a gap, and the gap was, let's embrace the word marketing, let's embrace the word sales, okay? Because it's long since been frowned on in our market. There's been a kind of like the word sales is, particularly in the UK, is attached to perhaps negative connotations. Or actually, any business, anywhere, ever, requires customers to use it. This news channel requires viewers, and we have to put it in front of people and get people's interest. And really, the need for selling and sales skills, the need to be a thoroughly professional, compliant professional, to be a good communicator, is essential in today's financial world, even more so than it was 20, 30 years ago. If you look at the two big shifts, if we go back to the original question, the RDR, in the early 90s, you've got the commission disclosure, and that kind of sent everybody running and saying, "Oh my God, how are we gonna make a living now? We have to do this." And it kind of shook the tree. It washed the market a little bit. Healthy, I think. Now we've got RDR. It's another big shake of the tree. And the people that are professional, the people who can stand there with confidence and say, "This is what I charge. This is what you're going to get," and encourage you to invest in that advice, are the people that are going to survive. That is by the ability to persuade people of your services. That's selling.
Great. And I mean, wrapping this all up and then looking into the future, what would you say are some major trends that would be developing for IFAs, something to watch out for, and maybe your advice on how they can tackle those challenges?
The main change is already what's happened, and now we see that they're sort of discouraging, or they're saying that perhaps the low threshold is if you've got less than 100,000, for example, then you're not going to be a potential client for IFAs. So one of the trends is going to be sort of internet-based marketing. What I would always suggest is that personal interaction is way above something that you can go online with a form, fill it in, and get some necessary advice. So one of the trends is that perhaps the internet is going to take over for more financial advice. Personally, what I'd be encouraging is to battle against that, to get out there in the world, meet people, and add value.
So do you think that will be the number one way in terms of bringing in those customers? Because like you said, it would be very difficult if people go online and the first thing is seek out information they already know. But how would they be able to get out there more if they have to battle against those digital challenges, people that are just willing to do everything over email and phone rather than face to face?
Look after their reputation. If I do a really good job for you, you're going to tell more people about it. Really think about my reputation, my name in the marketplace, how well I look after you, how much value I add to your life, and encourage you, recruit you, reward you in some way for speaking well of me.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
And that was Doug Tucker, and he is the author of Sales Commando.